It was once the king of fried chicken, but now KFC is getting cooked. Colonel Sanders launched the fried chicken empire back in 1930 in Corbin, Kentucky. Today, it boasts over 30,000 locations in 150 countries. But lately, the Colonel isn't doing so well. Kentucky Fried Chicken is falling behind its rivals like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. Customers are disappearing, stores are closing, and the franchise just can't keep up. So what happened? Today on the Infographics Show, we look at the decline of KFC. KFC built its brand on that golden, crispy coating made with a secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, and that secret part is no gimmick. KFC made a really big deal about keeping its recipe secret from customers and other competitors. They keep a copy of the recipe written by the Colonel in a vault in the company's Louisville headquarters. They even contract different companies for the ingredients so none of them can know everything that goes into the recipe. But things aren't going so well in the Colonel's home. In August 2024, 25 KFC restaurants in the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin closed their doors with no warning. Locals were left completely chickenless and confused as to why their local KFC shut down with little explanation. Globally, the Colonel's future is looking even more in danger. In countries like Turkey, KFC's strong association with the United States has made it a target of widespread boycotts. This has led to 283 KFC stores in the country shutting down seemingly overnight after their operator, Isgita, declared bankruptcy. In the U.S., KFC fell to 5th place amongst chicken-based fast food chains, even among a general growth in the market. Though it lost first place to Chick-fil-A and Popeyes a long time ago, in 2025, the Colonel was surpassed by Wingstop, which experienced a shocking 41% growth in 1 year, and Raising Cane, which experienced 31% growth. That brought up their sales to $4.7 and $5.2 billion respectively, while KFC only managed sales of $4.3 billion. So what happened to the once mighty fast food giant, easily sitting atop of the U.S. fried chicken game? Well, KFC has absolutely failed to keep up with the changing consumer and fast food landscape. First of all, as it relates to price. As with several fast food companies, KFC has felt the effects of inflation and consumers feeling that they don't have as much spending power. After all, fast food is supposed to be the cheapest option for dining. The idea is customers will accept plain dining areas and overall lower quality, unhealthier food as long as they don't have to shell out too much money for it. But that's no longer the case for KFC, and because of the product it focuses on, chicken, its prices have been hit harder than most other chains. Repeating epidemics of bird flu have wreaked havoc on poultry farms, as anyone following the relentless media focus on egg prices knows. In just the last quarter of 2024, more than 20 million egg-laying chickens died of bird flu. While the percentage of birds always die of disease, the 20 million figure is a new horrific record. However, if eggs are getting more expensive because of infected and dead chickens, it follows that poultry prices are getting more expensive as well. The difference might not be as marked because of the ways in which egg and poultry production differs. Chickens can be frozen and stored for much longer than eggs, allowing farmers to have a backup supply for one. But the fact remains, chicken still has become more expensive. Even though prices for pretty much everything are rising all the time, as your dwindling bank account shows, prices for food, particularly poultry, are rising faster than the general rate of inflation. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, went up by 0.2% from April 2025 to May 2025. The price for food from groceries and supermarkets went up by a similar amount, ending up 2.2% higher than in May of 2024. However, during the same period from April 2025 to May 2025, poultry prices rose by 0.5%, ending up 2.5% higher than they were in May 2024. They're predicted to increase another 2.3% by the end of 2025. This is due to a combination of bird flu disruptions and higher demand for chicken as the prices of other meats like beef and veal increased by 8.6% from 1 year to the next. Things aren't looking much better in the near future, as the USDA predicted that poultry prices in the US are going to be steadily rising over the next 10 years. And when your brand is laser-focused on selling chicken, any faster-than-average increase in prices can spell trouble for your business. After all, KFC can't pivot as easily as other fast food chains to offering other types of meals. Buckets of chicken is kinda their whole thing. As a result, prices at KFC have gone up exponentially. Though it's hard to find exact data on the price changes, likely something KFC doesn't want plastered all over the internet, a 10-piece meal deal used to cost $9.99 in the late 1990s. The cost today, $33.99 for the exact same meal. Well, not the exact same, as many consumers would argue that it tastes much worse, but we'll get to that soon. Now, you might logically point out that inflation would naturally make prices go up, but $9.99 in 1998 dollars is equivalent to $19.70 today. So it's clear that inflation is not the only problem. And the issues with KFC pricing have become very public thanks to online forums and social media. In March 2025, a post on Reddit about a single KFC drumstick costing $4.79 drew hundreds of likes and comments. A video on TikTok went viral after a woman went to the platform in shock to share that she just paid $59.04 for a 16-piece meal with 4 sides and 3 chicken tenders. To make things worse, it seems that KFC is participating in a trend a lot of companies have adopted during a time of skyrocketing inflation and weak wage growth: shrinkflation. Essentially, that's when companies offer less of a product than they usually do at a similar or even slightly higher price in order to cut costs. The Daily Dot published an article about TikToker Katie Espinoza, whose video went viral with 160,000 views after she ordered a family-style meal bucket from KFC and saw that the sides were comparatively tiny. She then went to show off the shockingly small size of the sides on social media, saying, "When did KFC get so stingy with their mashed potatoes with their bucket? How is this corn supposed to feed 4 people?" A lot of commenters pointed out that KFC had suspiciously changed their wording in some of their menu items, offering individual sides instead of family sides, but for family meals. Other customers pointed out that their chicken had less and less meat, more bones, and flat-out inedible pieces in it, making their increasingly pricey KFC order feel like a waste. These crazy price increases aren't just limited to the US, as Australian site TheBuzz.com observed that KFC has raised prices way faster than the rate of inflation. Some menu items increased 25% in price in just 1 year from 2024 to 2025. The price of the popular KFC Zinger combo in Australia, for example, has gone from $8.95 to $10.95 in Aussie dollars, an increase of 22%, while the price of the nuggets has gone up by 25%. The average price increase on the KFC menu in the land down under stands at around 14.7%. That's a huge number that far surpasses international giant McDonald's and local fast food rivals like Macca's, which just saw an 8% price increase over the exact same year. Grocerant guru Steven Johnson from Food Service Solutions has studied KFC's evolution and notes that the company that was once perceived as a leader in value has lost that reputation. As he says, consumers no longer see KFC as an affordable option, with premium pricing driving customers toward lower-cost alternatives with higher perceived value. Another problem is that KFC built its brand on offering value with its giant family-style meals, selling buckets of fried chicken to groups at a decent price. That leaves the company with less flexibility when it comes to offering smaller portions of food with affordable prices. Meanwhile, competitors like Raising Cane's and Dave's Hot Chicken have quickly caught on to the fact that consumers' wages are getting them less far than ever. So they offer plenty of value options on their menu that have increased their competitiveness. Popeyes, for example, has a $5 3-piece chicken meal for people who aren't going to go out to eat with 3 kids or half of their friends. Not to mention the quality of what consumers are paying for has gone downhill fast, and customers have noticed. There's a reason why people are now flocking to other franchises. They're making better chicken. In the 2023 American Customer Satisfaction Index (ACSI) restaurant study, customers rated Chick-fil-A, KFC's direct competitor, as their favorite fast food chain in the country for 9 straight years. Perhaps that explains why Chick-fil-A unseated KFC as the U.S.'s top chicken chain in 2014 and why its market share continues to skyrocket upwards, reaching 45.5% in 2023, a huge increase from 38.3% the year before. Meanwhile, KFC didn't just slide to second place, but third in 2023, mostly due to issues with quality, reporting 11.3% of the market share in 2023, as opposed to Popeyes, which captured 11.9% of the U.S. market. As mentioned before, in 2025, it has been overtaken by yet another 2 franchises as well, relegating it to 5th place in overall market share. On websites like Reddit and Quora, you can find an endless number of threads dedicated to why KFC chicken doesn't taste as good as it used to. Customers often wonder what happened to the taste. Many former employees attribute the changes to greed on the part of the company. KFC cut worker hours and hired less experienced employees who they can pay lower wages, resulting in worse service. They also started getting lower quality ingredients and supplies, including smaller chicken cuts and instant packet gravy in the place of gravy made in-house. The former employee then summarizes the problem, saying, "Subpar work and subpar kitchen cleanliness leads to worse products, but their profits go up, so they keep doing it." The problem is, KFC customers are starting to notice. The fast food chain gets rated horribly on food quality and customer service. Those combined issues amount to 80% of all complaints against the fast food chain, according to the Better Business Bureau and other consumer reporting services. But surely every fast food chain gets complaints, you might be thinking, and you would be right, but not nearly as many as KFC. To put it into perspective, Wendy's averages 1,500 official complaints per month, with a resolution rate of 90%. Burger King averages 2,000 complaints a month with a resolution rate of 88%, and Chick-fil-A averages only 500 complaints a month and manages to resolve 95% of them. KFC averages 5,500 complaints per month. No wonder people prefer Chick-fil-A. What's even worse is that KFC's resolution rate is also the lowest, with only about 75% of official customer complaints resolved. As professor of hospitality management at Cornell University, Dr. Amelia Nguyen explains, it suggests a systemic issue with how the company handles service recovery. When customers feel ignored or brushed off after voicing a legitimate grievance, it erodes trust and makes them far less likely to return in the future. So not only are customers more likely to leave KFC disappointed by their food and service, they are less likely to get their issue addressed and then come back at all. Major food-oriented publications have also noticed the chain's quality decline. In February 2025, Food Republic tried and rated 12 fried chicken chains, and it ranked KFC dead last. Reviewer Danny Zeller had this to say about their experience. In every metric I considered, KFC missed the mark. The vibe of the restaurant I visited was simply sad. The staff didn't seem remotely happy to be there. They go on to add, the tender very much matched the feel of the restaurant. Ouch. Worst of all, KFC has failed to realize that they are not the only competition in town anymore. When the franchise first opened up, it was pretty much the only fried chicken fast food franchise. That's no longer the case. Huge franchises like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes have surpassed the chain in quality and left it in the dust in terms of sales. There's also newer national and smaller regional franchises, Raising Cane's, Slim Chickens, and Dave's Hot Chicken, just to name a few, that have moved in on the fried chicken game since KFC's start. And the chain is now facing competition from yet another source: supermarkets and convenience stores. Nationwide retailers like Costco and Kroger sell cooked rotisserie chickens and full meal deals in their stores that usually come at a much lower price than KFC. Costco sells 3-pound rotisserie chickens for just $4.99. Meanwhile, the KFC Dunk It bucket, which includes just a few chicken tenders plus fries and potato poppers, sells for $7. For most families trying to eat well and cheaply, picking between Costco and KFC is a no-brainer. In order to stay competitive, KFC would have to either vastly improve the quality of its product, decrease their prices, or offer a better overall experience. And as we have seen so far, it has done none of that. In 2024, competitors like Wingstop, Zaxby's, Bojangles, Popeyes, and Chick-fil-A all ramped up their spending, while KFC cut back. That doesn't exactly scream confidence in the brand's future, and the numbers seem to back that up. Yum! Brands has noted 3 straight quarters of profit decline for KFC in 2024. Same-store sales have declined by 5% in the third quarter, and global sales went down by 4%. Restaurant Dive's April 2025 coverage of Circana's U.S. restaurant ranking confirmed the trend. Every major fried chicken chain saw increased spending in 2024, except KFC. Sales fell to $4.34 billion, down 4% from the company's previous year. Scaling back might make short-term financial sense, but it is not helping the company's long-term outlook. The other problem that KFC's run into is that customers today are more health-conscious than ever. While fast food giants have been spiking their prices up to new heights, healthy food has become relatively more affordable. This means that people are getting turned off of fast food in droves and toward healthier options. In fact, from 2014 to 2025, fast food prices in the U.S. have risen a whopping 47%. Wallet Hub found in states with lower median incomes like Kentucky, the average resident ends up spending 0.5% of their monthly income on just one family outing at a fast food restaurant. So why spend so much money on a meal that is meh at best and is also sure to send you to the doctor faster? As fast food prices rise and more people turn to healthier options, KFC finds itself in a tough spot. This is the brand, after all, the one that introduced the infamous Double Down, a sandwich that ditched the bun and instead smashed bacon, melted cheese, and sauce between 2 slabs of fried chicken. Now it has a lot of work to do in order to repair its image as the most artery-blocking fast food chain. Surprisingly, in what might be a bright spot for the company's future, it seems that the work KFC has been doing to appeal to a more health-minded consumer has been paying off. Ann Arbor-based consultancy CFI Group surveyed 1,200 fast food consumers and found that 17% of KFC customers said at least part of the reason they prefer the brand was because of its healthy menu items. Changes to the KFC menu, like the inclusion of grilled chicken, plus the general perception of chicken as healthier than red meat, might have helped turn at least some consumers' minds around. Statistics like these show that not all is lost for the KFC brand. There are still plenty of positive things happening within the company and ways it can course correct to experience more growth in the future. To keep up with changing consumer tastes, KFC Global started a spin-off restaurant called Saucy, which opened in Orlando, Florida in December 2024. This store will focus on chicken tenders, which offer more value for a customer's dollar, served with 11 different sauces that people can choose from. The company aims to make its sauces the new focus of the appropriately named Saucy spin-off, rather than the chicken itself, in order to stand out amongst the competition. In addition, executives at the company seem to finally realize that drastic action is needed to put KFC back on top. That's why in 2025, they're executing a series of actions under the slogan Kentucky Fried Comeback, aimed at getting customers back on board. These include the Free Bucket on Us promotion, which gives customers who order at least $15 worth of KFC through the app or website a free 8-piece bucket of chicken or tenders, and the return of $7 fill-ups. KFC hopes that these offers will make their products more affordable and get back some of the more price-conscious customers that have recently been disappearing. To reach out to a younger market, KFC is introducing bold new food and flavors like Kentucky Fried Pickles, served with comeback sauce. They're also doing social media collaborations with chefs like Maddie Matheson, who is now promoting KFC on YouTube and Twitch. But these moves far from guarantee a Kentucky Fried comeback for the massive chicken franchise. First and most concerning is the fact that KFC can't even decide on who is going to lead them into a new, brighter chapter. In just the last 2 years, the company shuffled almost its entire U.S. executive team. 2025 kicked off with Scott Mezvinsky taking over as division CEO after years with the parent company Yum Brands. Catherine Tan Gillespie followed, stepping in as president of KFC in the U.S. in April, replacing Turin Lal, who had only held the job since 2022. And that's not all. Since mid-2023, the company has named a new Chief Digital Officer, Chief People Officer, Chief Development Officer, Chief Operations Officer, and even a new Chief New Concept Officer. So while the menu hasn't changed much, everything behind the counter definitely has. If you're confused by all of this, so is KFC. Promoting and hiring a whole new executive team might help shake things up, but it's also very disorienting for such a huge company, and it might signal desperation to make changes rather than any planned-out strategy. In February 2025, Yum Brands announced that they would be moving their headquarters from the historic Louisville, Kentucky address to Plano, Texas, where much of KFC's operations had already been relocating over the past few years anyway, and Irvine, California. This relocation makes sense for tax reasons, as Texas has a much lower corporate tax rate of only 0.331% on company sales, while Kentucky institutes a 5% corporate tax rate on profits. It's partly the reason why many other companies, like Elon Musk's SpaceX, has moved headquarters. But KFC and its parent company both moving away from the place that gave birth to the franchise and the state it's named after, purely for financial reasons, is a little more troubling. Even more concerning is that Yum Brands doesn't seem to understand the fatal flaws that have led to the decline of KFC in the first place. People want better food at more affordable prices, but Joe Park, Yum Brands' Chief Digital and Technology Officer, recently told the Wall Street Journal that the company wanted to focus on AI and ordering kiosks to help sales. Park believes that personalizing promotions for different customers and locations will help the brand recover, rather than, making better chicken at prices people can afford. This hasn't inspired much hope in former customers and market observers that KFC's on the path to truly returning to its former glory. And as if KFC's business problems weren't enough, there's also the time it got caught up in one of the most shocking true crime stories ever. Watch KFC Murder Massacre Kidnapping that shocked FBI, or click on this video instead.